kids come first mentality was putting me in an energy of obligation and sacrifice, essentially. My energy doesn't matter if they need something. My dreams, my wants don't matter because I need to focus everything in on them. But actually, when we can stand in our own truth, in our own energy, and act in ways that we know are going to fulfill us and make us happy, we're demonstrating to them that when we do that, we're more powerful in the world. We're able to give them more. My children know if I say I've got a meditation to do, they absolutely give me space for that because they know that when I'm coming back to them, I'm way more me, I'm more fun, I'm more patient, I have a greater capacity to hold all of the challenges that can come along with having, my kids are 5 and 7 at the moment, and it's a growth inspiring ride, as you know, part of it.
Today's guest is my dear friend and the fabulous Emma Edwards, a transformational coach, a yoga teacher, and founder of the Mum First membership. Emma's work is all about guiding women, especially mothers, into radical self-leadership, a deep personal freedom, and a life of alignment and joy. She believes that when a mother is deeply nourished, everyone around her benefits. Emma brings a unique blend of embodied wisdom, coaching, and energetic mastery to the conversation. I cannot wait to dive in. Welcome, Emma.
Thank you so much. It's my absolute joy to be here.
Oh, I am so excited for this conversation on so many levels.
Me too.
So let's dive in. What's one of the most courageous things you have done? And the fact that I know you, Emma, I know you've done a lot.
That's what comes up for me, Anita, because there's so many
Mm.
things that I have stepped into, especially in these last few years.
Mm.
And it's interesting because for me, courage indicates some fear. We're courageous when there's something to act through, right? And there's quite a few situations and actions that I've done that people have reflected to me, wow, Emma, that was really courageous. And to me, it's just made sense because I've been coming through love. There hasn't been any fear. So there's been no courage. And in the context of courage, the way that I have stepped into being an entrepreneur and a leader, that has taken immense courage for me. I was someone who was all about structure, all about needing to know what to do and needing to know the outcome of that doing. I came from a nursing background, so very, very knowing what was expected of me and being all over that. So having a structure now where I'm in charge of every facet and the leader of every single part and not knowing what's going to happen and just following that heart energy, it is a courageous act for me. So in a sense, there's courage every single day, and there's also love and surrender every single day in this life that I'm continually stepping into and asks more of me all the time.
Oh, wow. Absolutely love that. And it is absolutely every single day. And like I said, knowing you, I know you've done some courageous things. I can absolutely relate to everything you're saying. And whether it's a downfall on my part or not, I can understand the wanting to know, I need to know what I'm doing. I plan, I'm rigid, and that's all gone out the window, especially when we have children anyway.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
What took you on your journey of self-development?
So like I say, I was a very structured person. I liked to have my roles. My roles were very much like an all-in thing, an all-encompassing thing. So I went from nursing. When I got married, I ended up leaving my career and stepping into being a stay-at-home mum and wife. And in that course of being a mum, I lost my marriage essentially.
Okay.
My husband went in a different direction, and it pulled the whole world from underneath me. It came
Mm.
completely out of the blue. One minute I thought we were in this sort of disconnected, it'll get better one day marriage, and then he was leaving. And so I actually Googled how to fix a broken marriage.
Bless.
Because I'm practical like that, right?
Yeah.
What can I do? What can I do? It's falling apart. What can I do?
Mm, mm,
Let's get on the internet and find out. And it led me to coaching.
mm,
And I had never heard of coaching. I was actually in this program that I didn't even really realize it was a coaching program, but it was all about unconditional love.
wow.
And it was a self-directed 12-week course that also came with a live coaching element in a group format. And I took to it like a duck to water. I was so ready for this information,
Mm,
and it came into me in such an empowered way, where taking responsibility for your own emotions and your own actions within a context. So looking at my marriage and saying, okay, because my previous story was, but I was being a good wife. I was doing all the housework. I was looking after the kids. I was fulfilling that role. I was ticking all
mhm,
the boxes. And I was passive aggressive, and I blamed my husband for a lot of things at the time, like, why can't he do this and why can't he do that? And
mm,
so taking that personal responsibility and really working on and looking into me gave me the courage to step into a yoga teacher training, which is something that I would have never have thought of doing, because
mm,
there's no stability as far as, you've got to create your own employment, which is something I never thought I would do. And then I found the philosophy element of yoga, and it aligned with the coaching. So the coaching was very much like
mm,
the mindset side of stuff. And then I had this spiritual element as well, which awakened an energetic component within me. I grew
mhm,
up atheist. I had no sense of connection. I actually
mhm,
felt really alone and broken for most of my life, up until being introduced to this philosophy and this way of being in the world. Um, and so, yeah, the thing that sparked it was something that at the time was so painful, and it catalyzed this transformation where I started to look at me and actually, what is it I want? As opposed to looking out and thinking, what do other people want me to be so that I can be
yeah,
accepted and I can be loved and I can
mm,
earn the love, because I
mm,
wasn't worthy of it without that. It's turned out to be the greatest blessing. And that moment of transformation for me was when my whole world fell out. And this time I did something different. I looked at
mm.
me, because relationships had broken down before, and I just was in a pattern, and I broke the paradigm. So, yeah,
Brilliant. Absolutely heartfelt. Because here's the thing, we're always like looking outwards, aren't we? And it's
absolutely.
that moment when you realize, actually, what do I need to look inside? What do I need to do differently?
Yeah,
And that takes a lot of courage,
it
a
does.
huge amount.
It does. It's that stepping into the
Mm.
unknown, isn't it? Because even though it's
Absolutely.
painful, it's
Mm.
familiar, so
Mhm.
it's safe.
So, like you said, and can imagine a lot of people listening to this, if they're mothers, mums, if they've got children, and maybe the dads as well. You know, you're ticking all the boxes, you're doing the housework, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you think your marriage would be perfect.
Yeah, it'll wait.
Yeah.
I don't need to put anything into that right now. It'll wait. It'll be all right.
But yeah, it's always like, what can you do next?
Well, I was in the understanding of kids come first. Kids
Absolutely.
come first.
Mm.
And there's an element of that, and I don't believe that to be true anymore, because the kids come first mentality was putting me in an energy of obligation and sacrifice, essentially.
Mm.
My energy doesn't matter if they need something. My dreams, my wants don't matter, because I need to focus everything in on them. And over time, and don't get me wrong, I still go back to that at times.
Yeah.
I've got all of my tools and I've got all of my way of being, and I will still slip into the doing part of it at times, and I'll come home to what's true. But actually, when we can stand in our own truth, in our own energy, and act in ways that we know are going to fulfill us and make us happy, we're demonstrating to them that when we do that, we're more powerful in the world. We're able to give them more. My
Mm.
children know if I say I've got a meditation to do, they absolutely give me space for that because they know that when I'm coming back to them, I'm way more me, I'm more fun, I'm more patient, I have a greater capacity
Mm.
to hold all of the challenges that can come along with having my kids are 5 and 7 at the moment, and
Mhm.
it's been a growth inspiring ride, as you know, part of it, you know.
Absolutely, bless them.
Yeah,
And yes, I mean, I know we've had calls and you've had to actually leave it because of the children and things like that. So I'm aware of the challenges. I mean, being a parent myself, I know what it's like.
yeah,
And absolutely, we have no idea, or at least I speak for myself here now. And I think you can relate. We give, children come first. I always thought that, yeah, I'll pick up my life later. I'll pick up my life later.
yeah.
Until one day I realized my life's passed me by. I can't
Mhm.
go back. I'm at this stage now. I've got to make it work going forward.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I can really relate to what you're saying here, Emma.
Because I believe that when we do that, we're giving them permission to do that later.
Mm,
We're teaching them accidentally what we do, and it's so normal. And I did it, and I still do it at times, like I say. But accidentally, we're teaching them, I don't matter. Your needs come first.
mm,
And so when they grow up, that's the way that they're seeing things is like,
mhm.
even though we're doing that for them, right? We're doing that to show them how important they are and how much they
Yes.
matter, that actually, in a subconscious level, it's planting seeds of, no, 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 don't do things for you that matter to you. Put yourself to the back burner and people please. And so,
Mhm.
um, yeah, it's a powerful shift. It is a courageous shift. It's
Mm,
uncomfortable at times to say, actually, I'm going to do this for me. I mean, as you know, my ex partner lived in America,
mm.
and I went to
Absolutely.
see him for 10 days.
Mhm,
Um, what was that? Probably a couple of years ago. So they were
mhm,
small, and
mhm.
had never really left them, and that was a huge thing for me.
Yes.
And they didn't necessarily love that I was going, but I was doing it for me. And I really believed and still believe that me doing that action, even though it was, Mum, I'm missing you, and there was things that came up, especially the last couple of days, it was a little bit long. So, but me doing that for me, I felt was a gift for them because
Mm,
it's showing them this is important to me. I'm coming back, and this is important to me. And you're with your dad, and this is important to me. Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
And that in itself is quite daunting and definitely taking a big courageous step there because you're not local.
No.
That's the biggest thing here. You can't just say when they ring up and say, "Oh, mummy, I need you to come back home now."
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they did.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Day, I think it was day
Mm,
7 or day 8. I had
mm,
this voice message from my son, my eldest boy, who was just like, just really missing you, mom, and I just really wish you could come home now.
mm,
And I just got to say, I hear you, honey, and I love
mm.
you, and I cannot wait to see you. And it's a couple of days now, and isn't that exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. And I truly just want to emphasize on the fact that you gave a perfect example of they give you your space for yoga because they know once you finish that, you're going to have so much more present time with them,
Yeah,
whatever that is they want to do. And I
yeah,
can really relate to that. And absolutely, that's so important. And doesn't that just demonstrate, you allow, let's say, for example, an hour,
yeah,
and then you're going back to them, you're going to be nourished, you're going to be on fire, you're going to be absolutely energetically able to do whatever they'd like to.
yeah, yeah. For me, it's all about bringing the nervous system into balance.
Mm,
It's like we can feel when that stress is starting to kick in,
mm,
and the sooner we can get into action for ourselves and come back into harmony. And it doesn't, for me, it doesn't take an hour. There's so many things that we can do. within a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And actually in the moment, it's not even that I mean, I used to give myself a tip, Mum, you need a timeout. I don't give my kids timeouts. I give myself timeouts. Mum, you need a timeout. And within a few minutes of just sitting quiet, a little knock on the door. Hi, Mom, are you all right?
Oh,
Like,
bless.
absolutely. And then they come and it would be all
Yeah,
hugs
yeah.
and things like that. But yeah, it shows them something. It
Mm-hmm.
shows them that personal responsibility as well of just like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling wound up right now. And I'm not going to put that on you. Whatever the behavior is,
Yes.
it's like that's my reaction to that gets to be a response when I slow down and I come into me. And instead
Mm-hmm.
of judging whatever the behavior is, noticing it and saying, I'm noticing this in you right now. How can I support you if we're in a place to do that? Or I'm going to take 5 breaths. We can do it together. You can join me. Here's what I'm doing right now. And then after those 5 breaths, there is a centeredness, there's a peacefulness. It might not be all the way through, but it's certainly more than if I just keep going with that momentum. And we get to influence the environment. We get to be the influence and the calming present instead of getting carried away with the whatever's going on. And again, it's not like I'm not a Zen master, okay? I'm like,
Are
I'll
you
snap
sure?
at times. Not yet, nearly. I'll snap at times and I'll
Yeah.
sort of get caught in it. But the challenges that have arisen recently, especially in the last 6 months, the capacity that I have to hold that lovingly, to stand in my truth and my power, and to show them that their feelings are okay. It's all
Mm-hmm.
right. Whatever feelings they're having are all right. I can hold that. It's okay. And in doing that, without needing to shift the feelings, without needing them to be any different, just loving them right where they are, trusting that whatever is going on in them is going to pass through, because evidence in our own life only always like it confirms that, right?
Yeah.
It never
Yeah. Yeah.
lasts. Not needing to fix it. We name it, we be with it, we breathe with it, or maybe we don't, because sometimes the kids are like, nah, not doing that. And that's fine, they get to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we can be the influence in that way, they come and meet you where you are. Because we're always doing that, right? It's like we're either meeting someone or they're meeting us. And to stand in that influence it's so powerful. I can't even tell you like the things that I've faced recently. Like we have social work involved in our family dynamic at the moment to support the children through some of the things that they're going through. My marriage dissolution was not a smooth one. It was an in and out thing a few times, and so they've got trauma
Yeah.
attached to that. And it wasn't something that I'd intended. It wasn't something my ex-husband intended. It's the life that we lived. And there's a consequence to that. So we get to now see them in their power, hold them in their truth when they forget, and invite them into a higher possibility.
I just love that. Love that, Emma. Honestly. And your honesty as well. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
You are the founder of the Mum First membership. Tell me more about that, Emma.
Yeah, so this is a space that I created recently that is for mums to, what we've been speaking to is shifting that paradigm of kids first into actually mum first, me first. And we do that. There's a couple of different ways to interact with the membership. On the ground, it's yoga and somatic movements, short, sharp, impactful ways of bringing your nervous system back into balance, as well as 2 yoga classes a week of 30 minutes just to really nourish and pour into you so that we can be more and we can hold more. And then there's also mindset and coaching and another level to it for those who want to go a little bit deeper. It mirrors my own journey because I started doing a yoga practice before I'd found the coaching. I started doing a yoga practice And I went from the control freak of like needing to know everything, and if the dishes were stacked in the wrong way, it had sent my whole world out of, out of alignment, right? Yeah, I'm glad
Just
I'm not
like
the
me.
only one. Yeah. And when I started the yoga practice and started creating that time and space for me, then I did feel more peaceful. I didn't know why, I just did.
Mm,
And then adding the coaching into that and going deeper on it. So it's about having the commitment and the action every single day. And
mm,
it doesn't need to be this big thing. There's 3-minute practices, but really starting the day with intention of, I'm showing up for me. What do I want today? How do I want to feel today? And how am I going to support myself through that? In a space where you're got other people who are growing together and accountable together and very compassionate for those days that maybe it doesn't pan out, and we just, because the mind kicks in, right? I haven't
mhm,
done it once, so meh. And then all of a sudden it's been a week, and then it's been a month, but it's just, we just keep coming back into it, keep coming back to the consistency. So it's a space to just really be you, to
mm,
nourish you, and to say, I'm ready to commit to me. I'm ready to step into more me
mm.
through little actions. And those actions compound, and the transformation that happens within that is just, it's a joy to witness. It really is.
Oh, beautiful. And I just want to go back to you saying when you miss a day and then a couple of days, a week. And it's very important. See, we don't forgive ourselves for doing something like that.
Yeah.
We're always like, oh, yeah, it's okay. Beating ourselves up. Why do we do that? We have compassion for everyone else around us. This is like kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Everybody else comes first.
Yeah.
And where's us in it all?
That's it. And that's the other piece of
Mm,
the, it's
mm,
like mum first, me first, but it's
mm,
mum first going first.
mm,
It's mum first changing the narrative, changing that inner critic,
mm,
and being more soft, being more
mm,
compassionate. Because my vision is, when we can do that as parents
mm,
and then be that for the kids, we be it for ourselves, but we're being it for our families. Absolutely we are.
mm.
And that's gonna, as they get older, can you imagine, you have your feelings and someone holds them for you. They
Yes.
just hold you there lovingly and safely. And so when we meet challenges out in the world, instead of the inner voice being like, oh, you're being angry, or you've
Mm,
missed this, or that critic that comes up, they've got tools that are innate in them. Their inner voice is one of, I can handle this.
mm,
Actually, I can be with this. I can handle this. I'm having an experience. It doesn't define me. It doesn't mean this is who I am. This is just something I'm experiencing right now. What do I want to experience? And so we do that for ourselves first. And that's what I've done for myself first. The
mm,
compassion that I have for myself, the openness that I have for myself, the space I can hold for the uncomfortable feelings, it bleeds out now into my parenting, which, as I say, it just creates such connection. So
mm,
now when there's challenge, and there's been, as I say, a huge challenge, that I don't want to be vague about it, and I also
mm,
want to keep my children's privacy intact.
mm.
Um,
Absolutely. Yeah.
when there is that,
Mm,
because of the compassion that I have for myself and the trust that I have in myself,
mm,
that these feelings are here and they just want to be looked at.
mm,
I'm of a belief that every moment in life is an opportunity to pour more love into,
mm.
and we get to choose that. And that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that life is shiny and sparkly and easy to love. Not easy to love life
Mm,
sometimes. And we get to. We
mm,
get to, and the more we do that, the more openness, the more we expand, the greater the capacity to love. Like my capacity to love now, and I know it's going to continue to grow, but
mhm.
when I think about it and pause of who I am today versus who I was, it blows me away when you
Mm.
actually pause to notice it. Because when you're on the journey, it's just like, this is normal, this is normal.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no, this is incredible.
Yeah. The circles we're mixing are very enriching our lives. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I can totally understand what you're saying here. Yeah, and even with my children, I can assure you, some do say I brought them up military style. You know, like I needed to know what I was doing, when I was doing, 3 children, school runs, after school clubs, this. And now I'm lucky enough to have granddaughters. And with my granddaughters, they lead me. It's
Yeah,
a complete different ball game. I'm absolutely relaxed. And I say to my children, yeah, I didn't have that knowledge or I didn't have that being. I wasn't the person I am today when
yeah,
they were growing up. And I absolutely allow now. And yeah, and I think that's with time as well. You have to grow into it. But I'm not saying I'm perfect either. We have our moments, absolutely. But we're giving that knowledge to them to be able to deal with absolutely any emotion, absolutely anything that comes their way. And that's really important this day and age, more so than it ever was when my children were growing up.
absolutely. We have a different understanding now.
Mm.
We don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know what we don't know, and we're always doing the best we can with what we have,
Mhm. Mm.
and that's always true. No
Yeah.
matter how enlightened you are, and then you
Mm.
snap, like that's the
Mm.
best you have in that moment.
Mhm.
And then you
Mm.
get hindsight of like, oh, I could have done that better. And that's something that I know as parents in
Mm.
particular, like that's who I
Mm.
work with, it's chronic.
Mm.
We'll have a go at the kids, or we'll not be our highest version of ourselves or what we'd imagined ourselves to be. We'll have that moment. And then it's like, oh, I could have done that better. It's not true, is it?
Mhm.
You didn't.
Yeah.
You're doing your best. What you
Absolutely.
had access to
In
in
that
that moment.
moment. Mm.
In hindsight, you're like,
Mm.
you know, but no.
Mm.
So again, we come back to that forgiveness, that
Mhm.
compassion,
Mm.
and moving forward.
Mm.
Like learning, okay, well, I didn't
Absolutely.
love the way that I responded there. What can I do differently next time?
Mm.
And how can I repair what I've done in the sense of I've created possibly a disconnection. And that to me is beautiful because
Mm.
it's a bridge to deeper connection.
Absolutely. So, Emma, tell me more about guiding women, especially mothers, into radical self leadership, deep personal freedom. I want to know all about that.
It's what we've been talking about
Mm.
really,
Mm.
Anita.
Mhm.
It's going first in it. It's
Mhm.
understanding that whatever is happening in life, whatever chaos
Mm.
may be going on around, there's no cage here. There's no like I was very much in the world where the outside world influenced how I felt.
Mm.
I needed things to be a certain way to
Mhm.
feel okay or to feel free. And it's about being it first. And so we look at what it is that you want in your life. What is freedom for you? Because it's so different for each of us. And then stepping into leadership is really taking responsibility for every single facet of life that is going on. My personal responsibility, what's my role? And what is it I want it to be? It's absolutely about compassion. It's about surrender and trust. And that's why in the membership, we work on daily actions, because the more you can follow through with what you say you're going to do, especially when it's for you, because we're the first persons to drop it, right? Like if something something else needs to be done, it's like that thing for me can wait. No, no, no. We want to be showing up and saying, following through, and that builds self-belief, and
Mm.
it builds self-trust, and it builds a relationship and a communication with yourself to be able to take actions that we know actually might not be that comfortable,
Mhm.
but we know are taking us into our our dream life right now. We don't need to wait for anything. We don't need
Mm.
to wait for the kids to be behaving a certain way. We don't need them to be doing well or not, because that was a huge thing for me, right? Like when the kids were okay, I was okay.
Yeah.
And when they weren't okay, that was my job to fix that. And the reason I felt like that was because I felt broken and I felt misunderstood. And I didn't want that for them. So it was actually all about me. Unconsciously, I was coming from as much love as I had access to at that time. So the self leadership is really seeing, okay, this is what's happening around me. What am I making that mean about me? what do I feel like I need to fix and do in order to control the outside world, and just keep bringing it home, keep bringing it home. And it's very simple, and it's not very easy at times, because it's really tempting. There's a pull to the outside world. There's a pull in relationship to ask things of other people to feel better, right? And when we shift that, it's incredible the possibilities that can unfold from there.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Thank you for sharing that, Emma. I'm just loving this conversation.
It's really fun, yeah. Loving it too.
Mum first. It's a state of being, not a to-do list. Absolutely love that.
Yeah.
How brilliant is that? Tell me
Yeah.
more about that, because I know I've got a few other questions about that. Just explain that a bit, please, Emma.
Absolutely. So it's not about adding things to do to your day, right? I need to do my practice in order to get to this place, or in order to be patient, I must do this. It's actually about cultivating that aliveness from within. It's about understanding that it's accessible in any moment in time. This peace, this centeredness. I want to say joy, but it's not always joy, but contentment. Contentment with all of life. It isn't about, I'll tick this box and I'll do my practice and I'll do this. And again, I speak from experience, because I fall into this sometimes. I'll do the yoga practice and I'll do the meditation. And when I'm doing it, as opposed to being it, then it's not as impactful. It's not that it doesn't have benefit, but it's not as impactful, because I'm misunderstanding that I already have everything I need inside of me. Already have it all. And acting from that place within any relationship, any context, you can take that into your business, you can take that into your marriage, you can take it into parenting. It doesn't matter. When we're being it first from a place of certainty and from a place of conviction, then everything just feels easier. Even the challenging moments, they feel easier. So it's not a to-do list. It's not a doing. And there's things to do, right? It's not just like sitting on a meditation pillow and nothing happens. But the being piece is the remembering that it's all right here, and there's nothing to do that could ever prove that you're enough or that you're worthy, or all of these things, the places that we come from, when you don't believe it for yourself first. Nobody can give it to you. It's got to come from within. And so the tools and the techniques and the methodology that I teach, that's the foundation of it. I'm not giving you anything you don't already have. I'm just reminding you.
So powerful, Emma.
It is. It is.
Tell me more about why striving to be the best mum is a trap. We all do it. We all want to be the best so that we can give the best. But let's see, none of us get there. But, we can imagine that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
trap.
It is a trap, because it comes from an idea and an identity of, again, it's like I need to be the best, and then I have ideas about what that will look like. And actually, all of them come from me anyway. It's not really about the kids. It's about me. And so when I'm acting from that place of got to be the best, I've got to be the best. So I mean, I've found this world of inner work and of self-development when the kids were quite small. But when my son was little, my firstborn, every time he cried, I felt like I was failing. Every single time he cried. Oh no, I need to fix it. And if I was out, I would look around and I'd be like, oh no, everyone's going to think I'm a rubbish mum. Like, what do I do? How do I fix the baby? And if I slow down and really know that exactly who I am right now, however I'm showing up, and that could be in a bit of a mood, I could be overwhelmed, and I'm still being the best mum, because it's a choice of acknowledging that whatever I'm bringing to the table, that is my best, and that is of benefit for everyone, because we get to learn and we get to grow together. So this trap of striving for something is a trap, because there's no amount of striving, there's no amount of doing, as we've been discussing, there's no amount of doing that's going to give that fulfillment and that knowledge that we're looking for. And when we shift the focus from the kids or from the other parents and the ones that are doing this, and we take these snapshots from other people's lives and we think, oh God, they're doing it better
Yeah.
than me. The comparison trap, right? And slow down and become more authentic to who you are and express that more and more. And it does take courage to be your truth. It takes courage to be your truth out in the world, in every context. And again, I can be not perfect at this because it's edgy, and that's where the freedom is, because it's coming from within. I'm enough. I know it. I'm the best. I know it.
Absolutely. And it's so true. I mean, I truly get, and I'm sure a lot of mothers can relate to this, and maybe some dads too. Why is the baby crying? What am I doing wrong? It's always self-blaming.
Yeah.
It's always about fixing it. Like, oh, nobody else, like you look around and, like you said, when you're out, it's almost that, we're trying to fit into boxes yet again as parents, and it's not working. Because here's the common thing: our children are all different.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I know you touched on this, but I'd really like to go back to this, the role of the nervous system regulating and mindset mastery in motherhood. I think it's quite important. Can you just touch on that again, please, Emma?
Absolutely. I believe what I was taught in my yoga training, was the first time I heard it, was there's two states fundamentally.
Mhm.
There's fear and there's love. Now, when we're in fear, we're reacting, we're protecting, we're defending, we're judging. And when we're in love, there's this openness and there's possibility and there's expansion. Whatever the circumstances are relevant. Two states, fear or love. Now, we've all grown up, we learn these ideas, right? We get ideas about ourselves and we hear things from other people, and things get lodged in patterns of behavior to keep ourselves safe. And that's a sympathetic nervous, fight, flight, or freeze nervous system that we get into. And when we're in that, we're in a pattern, we're in a loop. We can't be creative and we can't be open and we can't see reality as it is. It's all through, how do I protect myself? How do I feel okay? Like, what do I need to change out there because I'm not feeling good right now? And the power of being able to regulate your own nervous system very simply through the breath, through some kind of movement. Again, it takes minutes. When we can make that conscious choice, notice, I'm feeling stressed, I'm in fear. It might not present as fear, it might present as anger, frustration, overwhelm. But these are all offsets of fear in my understanding. When we can take that and say, okay, I'm gonna regulate my nervous system right now. I'm gonna use my breath to just come into balance. And when I do that, the circumstance looks different. Nothing's changed, but I'm being different. I'm being more open, and solutions can start to come in. I say solutions don't come in stress. They don't,
We all know.
right?
Yes.
So slowing down, because the mind will be like, you don't have time to breathe right now. This needs to be responded to right now. And then we're reacting, we're feeding that stress energy, and taking the time to pause, go in, cultivate a sense of safety. In other words, coming into love, which is what the nervous system, we're coming into that parasympathetic, the rest and digest. It opens everything up, and solutions start to arise. It can be when the kids are squabbling, it can be in lots of different formats, but the creativity piece, all of a sudden this situation which was stress inducing and which was like, oh, like, actually I'll come into me. Oh, why don't we do this? Like, a little idea will come in, like, why don't we do it this way? And the kids are like, oh yeah, we could do it that way. And then we're moving through in a different direction, instead of just forcing and pushing and controlling. And
And we're so much like that in life, aren't we, though? But
it's what we know.
mm,
It's
but the
what we
one
know.
thing I really want to highlight with what you've just said is, again, we have everything we need within us. And I know you said that many a times. Just want to highlight that because you're saying we need to sit there calmly and breathe. So we don't even need anything else. We just need ourselves. This is available to everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mhm,
Nobody knows your children better than you,
mhm, mhm,
right?
mhm,
And we're so like I mean I was so disconnected from my own intuition and my own like authority within parenting
mhm,
that I would be looking to the books, and the books are great. I love books, and it's not that I'm like I say I have outside
mhm,
help within my family dynamic because support is
mhm,
vital,
mhm.
absolutely.
Yes.
And you know, you know the action when you slow down and
Mm,
get present with yourself. And you get, and again, that comes back into trust. And the more we can trust ourselves as well, the more we can trust the kids to be in their experience.
mhm.
Because I've held it for me. And so I know that they can hold it. And that belief, it transfers.
I definitely echo again. Can't agree more with you about your children more than anyone. Being a dyslexic coach, being dyslexic myself, when I do work with dyslexic families, and I always say to the parents, trust yourselves. You know your child way better than anybody else. I can guide you, but I'm telling you, you know your child better. And it's so true. And yet we don't trust ourselves, do we?
The idea that we have our answers is so foreign to us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's trained out of us quite accidentally, but it
Mm-hmm.
is, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
your parents know better than you, the school teachers know better than you, and all of a sudden all the power
Mm-hmm.
is outside.
Yes.
And that's the journey. It's just starting to
Mm-hmm.
notice, where am I giving my power away and how do I reclaim it and bringing it home? Because to me that's all this is. It's a journey home over and
Absolutely.
over again.
Absolutely. Love that. Gives me chills. So, Emma, what would you say is one of the most important lessons you've learnt over your life so far? Big question.
That's a big question. I love that question. Important lessons. Trust.
Mm,
It really is. It's like the letting go of control and the trust in the journey through life, and the compassion. So
mm,
there's a couple of, but they're all linked in
mm,
for
mm,
me. The compassion, the commitment to me, the daily actions of
mm.
something for me. And I guess as well, it's like, I know you've asked me for one, I'm giving you a few, but
Okay.
there's I don't know if you know Abraham Hicks, but
Mhm.
I'd stumbled across them a few years ago, and the phrase of "there's nothing serious going on."
Yes.
I love that
Mm,
so much because we get really entangled
mm,
in the big moments, and there have been many, many
mm,
in my life, and more recently, I'd say in the past 12 months, more so, and it keeps on growing. It's
mm,
like in those moments, I know it's going to change. And there's nothing serious going on. And there's been some serious
mm,
things
mm,
that have happened, but so it's like a lightness. It
mhm,
provides a space and a lightness
mm,
to hold life lightly
mm,
instead of gripping onto these big minute moments and making it mean something and to analyze it.
mm.
Probably that's the biggest lesson, is to stop over analyzing and just
Yeah,
really trust life.
fantastic. Really beautiful. Beautifully put as well, Emma.
Thank you.
So you have given us so many tools, daily steps about the mum first. What is your key takeaway?
My key takeaway is just that reminder that we get to be the leaders of our life.
Mm,
And in doing that, we create leaders. The more I step into my leadership, the more others step into theirs. From the children to the people that I'm working with, whoever's in front of me, I know they're a leader. I know they have their answers. I love them deeply. And that's it's so exciting because it's creating a lighter and more easeful and beautiful world.
wow, that is absolutely phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm.
Thank you for this time. It's been incredible.
So, Emma, where can the listeners find you online?
I am on Instagram and Facebook, and my handle is Create with Emma. And through email as well, I am elevateyourexperience.now@gmail.com.
Okay, and all the links will be in the show notes. Please do get in touch with Emma, even if it's just for a simple chat. No question is off limits here.
Absolutely. And I'll mention as well that on the last Sunday of every month, I have a space called the Sunday Sanctuary, which is a free space for mums to come into and just be. So we hold space, we share and hold each other and support each other exactly as we are. It's not a coaching space, and coaching is available if requested, but it's more just about listening and being together and having that nourishing touch point.
That's brilliant. And I'm sure Emma can pass me the link and put that in the show notes as well. So please do connect.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing your insightful wisdom and knowledge with us today and doing the work on yourself. By doing that, you have helped so many others make a difference. I really want to acknowledge you for that, Emma Edwards.
Thank you, Anita. And I receive that fully. I really do. And thank you for this time and opportunity to be in conversation and to grow together and to learn from each other. It's beautiful.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. I could carry on talking to you. Right. With that said, we better get on. So we are all about Create the Courage to Be Fearless podcast here. What is your definition of courage?
So for me, courage is the ability and willingness to act through the fear, through the doubt, through the worry. And again, it comes back to trust, right? It's like we know there's something calling us, and it takes courage. We've got to do it scared sometimes before it feels comfortable.